with all these crazy storms that were coming in the Savannah area over the past month or so, I thought it's very important to get an insurance person here to answer a bunch of questions. I got Jessica Neeley from Beach Insurance Group. She's going to be answering questions like, how much is home insurance? What are the factors that make it cost more? How can you save money? You don't want to miss out on this interview. Hey guys, Patrick Donovan, XP Realty, part of the Johnson Group out here in beautiful Savannah, Georgia. And today I got a special guest from Beach Group Insurance, Jessica Neeley. Say hi, how you doing, Jessica?
Hey, Patrick, how are you?
I'm doing good. I'm doing good. Can you tell the audience a little bit about yourself?
Absolutely. First, thank you for having me on. I appreciate the opportunity to connect and educate about home insurance. I have been a property and casualty insurance agent for about 11 years now, and originally from the suburbs of Seattle, Washington. I've been in Southeast Georgia for about 19 years now. And I just really have a passion for finance. When I got here, I actually went to work for a credit union and spent some years doing commercial finance. Loved it, loved working with the small business community, but missed insurance. So I got back into it about 7 years ago here in Georgia and have been doing it ever since and love it.
That's right. What makes insurance your passion?
Really, the education portion of it, because we have to have it, right? If we go get a mortgage loan, have to have insurance. If we
Right.
buy a car, we have to have insurance. It is required in so many instances, but we don't really understand it. We don't know why we have to have it or what is covered. What do we do in an emergency? And yeah,
Well,
we should know.
oftentimes complain about it.
Yes, yes, but don't understand how it works or
Right.
how to use it if you need it. I don't know why it's not taught in schools, to be quite frank. I think it's something we should be learning in high school when we get our driver's license and have to have car insurance, but we're really not taught about it. And like, what is good coverage? What is bad coverage? What coverages do I need for my personal situation? So I am passionate about educating people because I think we should understand what we're actually paying for every month.
Well, I love that answer because that's what we're actually going to do right now. So here we go.
Yay!
Let me get into the questions. All right. First question. Will the location where someone buys a home affect their home insurance rates?
Yes, definitely. So, if you buy in an area that has a lot of storms, that can impact your rates. If you buy a home on an island, that will impact your rates. If you buy a home in an area that is prone to earthquakes, that can affect your insurance rates. Something else, if you buy a lot of land, like if you buy a home on 5 or more acres, that can impact your home insurance rates. So, the area that you're purchasing in definitely affects rate.
And it's because of the risk to own in those areas. Is that correct?
Yeah, absolutely. The risk of losses occurring. Definitely.
Okay. All right. All right. Now, next question. Does the roof age or age of the dwelling matter with home insurance?
Yes. Especially right now when we are seeing increased weather events across the country.
Oh, my
The
goodness.
So many, right? We just had
Right.
two down here.
How did that affect you? How did, like, just to talk about Helene, how did that, I mean, how are you guys dealing with all this? Because I know it's a lot.
It is a lot, but just one phone call, one client at a time, and educating people, reviewing deductibles, which we're going to talk about today, making people understand their or explaining their coverages to them so they understand how they're covered or maybe not covered.
Hmm.
The age of your roof and the age of your home really matters from a home insurance perspective because obviously the older your roof, the more likely a loss will occur if we have a Hurricane Helene, in the
Yeah,
area.
no doubt. Yeah.
Um, Same with age of your home too. If you think about it, like we live close to a city that has very old buildings in Savannah, Georgia. Well,
One
that
collapsed in Savannah. Did you see that?
really? No, I did not. Oh
Yeah,
my
older
gosh.
building in Savannah collapsed. It was I think it was a restaurant. No one got killed, thank God. But yeah,
Oh my
no, it was.
goodness.
Remember, we got smacked. I've never been in a worse. We've been here. I've been here since 2002, and I hadn't felt one that bad. Like Michael, we kind of left, but I think we could have stayed, but it was still bad. But the wind event on this one was insane.
It was it was insane. And those older homes do, like, their foundations corrode over time. They might have old wiring in them, which could cause a fire. So those affect home insurance rates as well. Um,
Oh
it could
yeah.
have old plumbing that could burst in the wall and cause a loss. So those factors are taken into consideration when you get a when you get a home insurance quote.
So you say that your home insurance quote for a new construction home would obviously be more favorable than a
Very
1900s
much
home.
so. Yes, it's significantly less than an older home. Yes.
Wow. Okay. All right. Great. All right. Next question. How much insurance do I need?
This is a great question. So there is a misconception that people need to have the same amount of insurance as the purchase price of their home. But
Right.
that's not correct, because if you think about it, when you buy your home, you're buying your home and the land the home sits on, and your land
Right.
has value. As we well know, there's homes downtown Savannah where the lot itself is worth $500,000.
Oh
So
yeah.
you don't want to pay for that on your building or your home insurance costs, since the land isn't covered. So something an insurance agent will do for you when you're going to buy a home is they're going to run a reconstruction cost estimator. This takes into account the current labor costs, current material costs, and calculates how much it would cost to completely rebuild your home if it was a total loss. And so this is the number that you want for your building coverage on your home insurance policy.
Let me ask you this. So, say we do the cost estimator, right? And we come up with a number. And then when if something catastrophic happened, had to rebuild, and the estimator was wrong, and it costs like more, how does
Mhm.
that work?
So that's a really good question. You should review your coverages annually once you have your home insurance policy to make sure that doesn't happen. So if you notice that costs are really increasing, you should have your insurance agent reevaluate the reconstruction cost estimator. You can also add an endorsement to most homeowners insurance policies that's called an extended replacement cost endorsement that gives you some extra dwelling coverage for that exact situation. So that's a really great endorsement to include on your home insurance policy if you're unsure or you feel like costs have gone up several years in a row and you kind of want that cushion, just to be, safe or cautious. You can include that on your home insurance policy, and that'll give you some extra coverage.
Okay, but you will get the insurance company will not go above that number, correct?
No, that's your reconstruction cost to rebuild your home, is that dwelling coverage limit.
Okay. I just want to make sure because we're talking about educating. I want to make sure everybody understands that.
Yes, no, they need to understand, definitely.
All right. Okay. So, what is the difference between a home warranty and a home insurance policy?
Home warranty is to fix things like your air conditioning because the capacitor is broken, or your refrigerator isn't working. That's what your home warranty is to cover. If you choose to purchase one at closing, that's not automatic. So if that's something that
No.
you want, you should make sure that you talk to your realtor, your closing attorney, or your title company that's involved to make sure that you have that included. If that's something you want. Home insurance is for sudden and accidental losses. So a lot of times people will call and be like, hey, my air conditioning isn't working. I want to file a claim. Well, home insurance might cover it, but only if it was a peril that's actually listed on the policy. And the most common one with an air conditioner is a lightning strike. So let's say lightning hit your air conditioner and no longer works, then yes, your home insurance kicks in because that's a covered peril on your policy. But if it's just old and it's worn out, that's not going to be covered. And it might be covered on a home warranty if you chose to purchase one.
Okay. Yeah, and if you're a soldier and you are buying with me, I do buy home warranties for soldiers because I'm a veteran,
That's
so I like
awesome.
to
I
take care
love
of my.
that, Patrick.
Yeah,
That's
yeah, yeah, yeah,
amazing. That's
yeah.
amazing. Good looking out.
Okay. Yes, definitely. I mean, it's hard times, right?
It
And
is.
I would. It kills me. I hear that people have these issues when they buy a home and then in the first 6 months something goes wrong. They don't have a home and they don't have a um, home warranty, and then it's all on them. It just makes life tough. So that's why
It
I try to take
does.
care of our veterans, if I
That's
can,
it's
or
amazing.
current soldiers. Okay, now next question: what is a deductible, and are there multiple deductibles on a insurance policy?
Yes. So a deductible is what you're going to pay the insurance company first if a claim happens or a loss occurs before your insurance policy is actually going to kick in. So this is really important to understand because if you're a first-time home buyer, you should be saving monthly for the what ifs or your deductible amount in case something does happen. Um, People who've owned homes for years kind of understand that, but first time home buyers a lot of times don't realize they should have an emergency savings to cover these deductibles on their policy. And multiple deductibles in our area is very common. Georgia, the Carolinas, Florida, because we are prone to storms. So a lot of times there will be a separate wind hail deductible on the policy, or it could be a named storm deductible, or it could be called a tropical cyclone deductible. So it's important to understand what each of those deductibles mean and when they would kick in also. When you purchase your home insurance policy, so you're ready if that event occurs, you have those funds available.
Yeah, so let me ask you this question.
Yeah.
So say a named storm comes in, right? You have a
Mhm.
named storm deductible. Does that trump the wind and hail, or is it combined, or is it have both deductibles because of how does that work?
So for home insurance, generally, there's not a combined deductible. Okay. Um, so if it's a named storm like Hurricane Helene came and knocked a tree down and it's on your house now, and you have a named storm deductible, that's what's going to kick in. If you have a wind and hail deductible, same thing. It would Hurricane Helene comes, knocks a tree down, that's going to be wind onto your home and does damage. It's going to be whatever that wind hail deductible is. Generally, they don't stack on home insurance, but it's important to know when they kick in because, for example, you could have a home insurance policy with an all other peril deductible, which is what they call in the insurance world, like for fire, lightning, water damage, that kind of thing. And then you might have a wind hail deductible plus a tropical cyclone deductible. Well, if we just get a random windstorm, then your wind hail deductible counts is what's going to count in that situation because it wasn't a named storm. If we get a named storm, then they're going to use your tropical cyclone deductible. So it's really important when you get a home insurance quote to go to review it with your agent to make sure you understand the instances that those will impact you, like with the causes.
Because they cost different amounts of money, correct?
Yes, they do. And thank you. Obviously, yes, I should mention that. They do. They do. So really commonly in our area, 2% wind hail deductible is that's very common. Or a 2%
Two
named storm
percent of what?
deductible. The dwelling coverage. Great question. Yeah. So if you have a $200,000 building coverage on your home, that's a $4,000 deductible if it's 2%.
Gotcha. Okay, there you
Yes.
go. See, we're learning.
Yes. Yes. So good to know. I can't stress this enough because, especially given that we just went through so many claims with the
Mm,
recent storm, a lot of people don't understand this. Before we go to the next question, really quick, you need to make sure too, if you live in an area where wind is common, that you have wind coverage on your policy. There are some sketchy agents out there that will write a
What,
policy.
insurance agents or real estate agents
Yes,
or both?
insurance agents.
Okay.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, I'm not calling out any realtors. No, there are some insurance agents that want to write a policy at the best price and will send quotes out without wind and hail coverage, without the client really understanding that they don't have wind and hail coverage. So I just had a client call me the other day. They're like, I need a home insurance quote. My home insurance is like $850 a year right now. And I go, you don't have wind and hail coverage. There's no way you do. Send me what you have. Let me look at it. He didn't have wind and hail coverage and he had no idea and lives in a coastal area. Like that's very scary.
No,
So,
that is scary. Well, I guess the reason why, and I'm sure you can't explain this, but I think the reason why it is so confusing is there's so many different things that have to be covered that you think I'm getting home insurance. Why is it not just covered in my home insurance?
yeah.
Do you see what I'm saying? Like, why
Yes.
are
Yeah.
these layers upon layers of stuff when if I get hit by a car in my car's covered? You see what I'm
Mhm.
saying?
Mhm.
So I
Yes.
think that's the confusion. And like I said, I'm sure you can't explain why the insurance company has broken it apart like that, but I think that's the confusing part.
Yeah. Well, I think that the one of the reasons they broke it apart is because different areas suffer different types of weather. And so this allows them really to customize a policy for the person and the location that they're living in. I think that's one of the biggest reasons. But as consumers, it's our job to educate ourselves. Like we have to understand what we're paying for and that our biggest asset, because homes are often our biggest asset, is properly covered. Don't be shy about asking your agent questions. If your agent wants your business and cares, they're going to take the time to answer your questions.
I totally agree with that. Totally agree. All right. Great. Thank you for that. That's good. All
Yes.
right. Do you have to have flood insurance?
So that depends. If you are getting a mortgage and the property you are buying is in a flood zone, you are going to be required to have flood insurance. If you are paying cash for a home that is in a flood zone, no one is going to require you to carry flood insurance. I would recommend it, but no one's going to require it. If you live in an area that's prone to storms, but you're not in a flood zone, I would recommend you carry flood insurance. Look at everything that Western North Carolina is going through right now.
Unreal.
FEMA's estimating only 2% of those people had flood coverage in place.
I saw that. Oh my, devastating. Financially
Devastating.
devastating. And
Yes.
I think everybody thinks that FEMA's going to come in and just save the day. I don't know what they thought was going to happen when they don't have. And once again, like I think, some of these places they don't typically flood, right? But it did.
Right. But they do. And so, I mean, I would just caution someone who is buying a home in today's environment with the increased weather events we are having across the country to protect themselves. And that might mean buying flood insurance. We have lived in Southeast Georgia for 19 years. We have never lived in a home that was in a flood zone, but I insist that we have it because we've been evacuated one time. And when we evacuated, for me, it was peace of mind. I didn't have to worry about anything. I'm covered. My home is covered. So it's covered for flood, it's covered for wind. We're good. We can go and we're safe. Like safety is important. So I don't know. You can put a price on peace of mind. And I think flood insurance in a lot of cases is it right now if you own a home.
I think I heard a great quote. It was on the Weather Channel because my son he's a weather nut. So anytime there's like a hurricane, he's super excited. It's like his Super Bowl. But
Mhm.
he's like, they said on there, he's like, if it rains where you live, you need to get flood insurance. It's like, well, I guess that makes sense. So
Yeah, rising water is covered by flood and it is not covered on your home insurance policy. So if you are live in an area where you could get massive rain, yes. If you live close to water at all, yes. If you're in a coastal area, yes. I mean, I just and it's not super expensive, especially if you're not in a flood zone. You're looking at $400 to $1,000 a year potentially. And again, that is peace of mind. So if you are evacuated for any reason, you know you're covered and you don't have to worry about your biggest asset.
Right, right, right. And I hate it for everybody that is even in our
Yeah.
area in the Richmond Hill area was devastated
Oh,
by
yes.
flooding, and
Yes.
I think a lot of them didn't have.
Debbie, for Debbie.
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah. So awful, awful, awful. You don't want to catch yourself in that situation if you can avoid it. Just
No.
you don't want to be there.
Yes.
Okay. So how can someone save money on homeowners insurance? I know, we're talking about adding flood insurance because we live in our area, but like how do you save money? Because a lot of times that's where people try to save the money is not pay for homeowners or flood insurance. So
Mhm.
how else could you save money?
The most common way is to bundle your home and auto insurance with one carrier. A lot of the carriers give 10, 20, 30, 40% discounts depending on which company it is. So that could be huge savings. Another way would be a central alarm discount. If you have an alarm system that reports, it's monitored, then that's a great way to save money. If you haven't had prior claims, that's staying claim free is another great way to save money with the insurance companies.
I heard a quote, someone told me, it's not a maintenance policy, it's an insurance policy, right?
Mhm.
Oh man, yeah,
It is.
for sure.
Yeah.
Okay, how much will homeowners insurance cost?
It varies. So a lot of the factors that we've talked about today, pertaining to maybe some discounts that you are eligible for or could get, the area you live in, the age of your home, the age of your roof, all of those factors go into homeowners insurance. Also, your credit. Credit impacts insurance, and I don't think a lot of people understand that as well. Depends on the insurance company and if it's like if they're authorized to do that through the state that they're writing in. But a lot of carriers use it, use credit. So that's a factor in your costs as well. So there's a lot of factors that go into it. There's no general rule. Um, there's no like $1 per thousand or $1 per 10 square feet or there's no calculation like that that
It's
you can
based on
really
the
apply.
person. It's based on the person and the dwelling, right?
Yes, absolutely.
All right. Excellent. All right. And what happens after I secure homeowners insurance? Say I bought my home, moved in my home, got homeowners insurance. What happens then?
One thing I recommend, review your policy every year. So, and make sure you communicate with your agent. So, if you got married during the year, there might be a married discount that could be applied to your policy. If you added onto your home, you want to make sure that your building coverage increases to cover the investment that you just made in your home and that you're properly covered. Um, Something else I would recommend, don't file small claims. Claims impact rates. So if you file one, two, three small claims, that could make your rate increase and could prevent you from being able to get insurance with certain insurance companies. So just keep in mind that your home insurance is really for catastrophic losses and should be used as such. For example, I had a client that I assisted a year or so ago who called me and they filed five less than $500 claims in the last 4 years and their insurance then they got non-renewed with their current carrier and their insurance quadrupled in cost because of these small claims. um, the most common one is food spoilage. I would never discourage someone that needs the money to survive to not file a claim. Like, go ahead and do that. But if you can absorb it, do not file it because a lot of times you end up paying more over time in increased insurance costs. And like I said, it impacts who we can write your insurance with. Like some carriers will just decline. They won't write it at all because of these claims that you had, even though they weren't significant. Another thing I would caution too, while we're on this topic, is call your agent before you file a claim. First of all, you should have an insurance agent. Like you need that person to ask insurance advice from and to be a trusted advisor for you. But that is the person you call prior to having a claim because they can look up your deductibles for you. A lot of times with the storm damage we just went through, we had clients calling us like, "Hey, what's my wind deductible? Does it make sense to file a claim?" And did those calculations because oftentimes when you call a home insurance company and inquire, it's a claim and it stays on your loss history report for 5 years, whether they paid out or not.
What?
Yeah.
Oh,
Yes.
wow. Okay. All right.
Yes.
That's crazy.
Yes, it is. But it is what's done and it's on your loss history report and it stays there 5 years. So it's really important to have an agent like myself that you can call and say, "Hey, this is what's going on. Should we file a claim or is there an alternative or what do you recommend?" A lot of times they'll say, "Go out and get two estimates first and let's look at those estimate numbers and see if it makes sense."
So you're saying if I call the agent, then it doesn't count as a claim, but if I call
Correct.
well, should you call the agent anyway if you're gonna file a claim anyway?
Yes, but Patrick, that's actually a good point. But a lot of people don't have agents. They go online and get their insurance. And so if you go direct through a company, well, you don't have an agent. You're calling direct to the company if something happens. And that means they're filing a claim if you call to inquire.
So you facilitate any if they have any questions, you facilitate them yes,
Yes.
no. And then if they say and if your recommendation is, hey, yes, you should file a claim, you help them through that process.
Yes, yes, absolutely. In some cases, we can file it through the carrier's website. If we can't do that, we'll provide the information to the client to make sure they can. I always recommend if you're with an insurance company that has an app available, make sure you download the app on your phone and you have it, and you have your account set up because a lot of times that's the quickest way to file a claim. And then you can upload photos right away, which helps expedite things for you. So that's a little tip, but yeah, it's really important to have an agent and someone you can just kind of talk through a situation with, and can advise you.
Does that cost them any extra money to have an
No,
agent? Okay, good,
no,
right. So you
nope.
get free advisement. You just got to have
Yeah.
our agent to do it.
Yes, exactly.
Okay. All right. Excellent. And if someone needed insurance, who would they call?
I would, of course, recommend us if you are in Georgia, South Carolina, or North Carolina. We would be happy to assist you with any home insurance needs you have. We actually do home, auto, and business insurance with our agency. We are an independent agency, so we work with lots of different carriers. So we shop rates and coverage for our clients to make sure it's the best option for them. If you are outside of those states, I highly recommend Googling, independent agent in your city so you can find somebody local to work with, or independent broker. Those are kind of the key terms. If you want to call our office, you can, Patrick will give you the information, I'm sure, but
It'll be in
um,
the description down below.
okay, perfect. So we'll leave that there. And then also, I am on YouTube as well at the Savvy Finance Lady. So
And
you
that
can
will
head over
be
there.
down there as well, for sure.
Awesome. Thank you. Yes, follow along. We're all about finance and insurance tips and tricks.
And you give advice on your channel as well, right? About insurance
Yes,
specifically.
yes, yes.
All right. All right, great. So if you want to get it from I don't want to say the horse's mouth, but if you want to get it from the source, get it from the source. Go to her page, check her out, support her, and I really appreciate you coming on today and explaining all this stuff to us. It's been awesome. Thank you so much.
Thank you
And
so much. I appreciate the opportunity.
for anybody watching, I really appreciate you guys watching, and give Jessica a call if you need insurance. And I'll talk to you guys soon.